Masterclass, and I'm sure we'll all be looking forward to hearing what our speaker will be telling us today. So I'm thrilled to introduce our speaker, Judith, who many of you might recognize from our secret DJ at the big weekend secret party. I've had the pleasure of knowing Judith for a couple of years through the alumni events, and her journey is nothing short of inspiring. Judith is the founder of Finance Fixtory, a platform dedicated to improving financial literacy. So she graduated in music at UEL, but transitioned into different sectors. She will tell us all about that in the introduction. And at the moment, she's studying SSCA. So today, Judith will be sharing her expertise on a variety of finance topics, and we look forward to hearing more of what she's going to share with us today. So, Judith, over to you now.
Okay, I'm just going to quickly share my screen. Hope that it actually works. Sorry, just bear with me a second. Right.
So as Judith is sharing her screen, we'll have questions and answers at the end after she's finished doing her presentation.
Right. Right, okay. Okay, can everyone see this?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about, I'm not sure if there's a box or anything there. Okay, oh, let me go back. Right. So I'm going to talk about my business, Finance Fixtory. Okay, right. So what is Finance Fixtory? So Finance Fixtory is a hub designed to help people understand financial literacy. It also offers one-to-one consultations on these matters. And it's also started off as a blog in 2022, but I'll go into that further. I'm going to talk about the following. So my UEL experience, my career, and the reason behind Finance Fixtory, why financial literacy is very important to everyone, the statistics. I'll also talk about travel, food and entertainment, how you can save money on those things. I will also be discussing direct debits and savings, different types of savings accounts, credit scores when buying a home, and next steps. Okay. So this is collage. So who is the founder? So I'm Judith Jones. I'm a bit of everything. I'm a musician. I did singing since I was like 4 years old. I also taught myself how to play bass when I was age 15, and then I went on to do grade 5 rock school. I've also been in various choirs. I studied GCSE music in school, but I really didn't like it because I wasn't that very good at it. And eventually I became good, and I ended up proving my GCSE teacher wrong because she didn't really have faith in me at that time. Aside from that, I actually did a lot of music performance in school, and we used to have little bands at break time and just have just go off and just have like jam sessions and stuff. And then I went to Luton Sixth Form College, and I studied music, law, sociology, and a bit of human biology. I then went to UEL, and this was in 2011, 2014. So after returning from UEL, I returned home, but there wasn't so many jobs in the sector that I wanted to work in, which was music industry management. So I had to kind of do a little reset and then start over with that. I then ended up back at UEL, but this was only to do invigilation. I also did that at London South Bank as well. I then did a internship at White Labels Production, and that was the first time I got to be in the music industry. I then had my first proper corporate job at PRS for Music. And then after that, I decided I wanted to do an advanced accounting diploma because I wanted to really go into finance. Although I did have a finance related job at PRS for Music, it wasn't sufficient. So I then decided, okay, I'll do accounting. And then I went on to my payroll job. And then after that, legal sector, working as accounts payable finance assistant. And then fast forward to this year, I started the ACCA and I opened my business. Okay, so this is like summary of the UEL experience. So as you may know, I studied music industry management. I also lived on campus for 3 years. So some of these photos of what I would see out of my window, sometimes I would randomly see a yacht, and this was in Elsa House. So my first retail job was at Westfield, Stratford. So this was when they were actually building it. So we got to see it firsthand. I also worked, well, through there, I worked at River Island, and it was a fun experience. Through that job, I actually got to be in a music video, but this was for the Olympics. So this was really fun. And we had flyers at work, and they mentioned something about there being a world star DJ, but I wasn't sure who it might be. But then we when we got there, because it was a secret location, but the secret location was somewhere in Stratford. So it was actually Mark Ronson and KTB doing a video for the Olympic theme tune. I've forgotten the name of it, but it was really fun. And then I then went on to, well, whilst at UEL, learnt to DJ. And this was actually through going to various flat parties. And surprisingly, at that time, a lot of people were DJing. And every time we'd have a flat party, someone would bring out their decks. And so that's how I learned. In 2014, I actually got the chance to work at the British Music Experience. This was in the O2 Arena. And yeah, this was really fun, but sadly, we were all made redundant in, I believe, May 2014. So just a summary. So the bottom picture is just some of my classmates at UEL, and then that's my flat, and then my two friends, Amy and Farah, and then the microphone from the UEL Enterprise Festival of this year. So UEL after UEL, invigilation, and then I returned to do the pinning ceremony, and then the alumni showcase last year, and then the Enterprise Festival. Okay, right. Okay, so what exactly is Finance Fixtory? So it's a financial hub to help people understand and improve their financial literacy. Also focuses on positive energy. So I'm a strong believer in positive energy. So anything you want to do in life, you need to have that positive energy and that mindset to achieve what you want. The audience is mainly students, job seekers, families, single occupancy households, and more. And these are some of the topics that I normally cover. And also forgot to mention that we cover topics relating to managing bills as well. Okay, so this started in 2020. Well, I had the idea that I wanted to have a blog of some kind, or some sort of like hub with these ideas. And yeah, so in 2020 we had a lot of time on our hands, so I just kind of started to like write up the blogs as notes. I didn't have a name for it, but I thought I'm definitely going to do this, because I had a lot of friends and family at the time like asking me different questions about different things, like how do you save for a property, how do you spend money in this type of way, how do you do that? And so I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna make a blog to start off with, and this will be the reference point for all of those type of questions. Yeah, so then I also set up one-to-one sessions for them and other people as well. I then also registered the business a couple of months ago. Right, so here's some statistics in regards to financial literacy. So generally in schools, so this is a screenshot from the Bank of England in regards to making time for financial literacy education. Unfortunately, a lot of kids lack financial literacy. This is because it's not taught in schools. Sadly, when adults make financial decisions or any kind of decision, sometimes they realize too late. So the goal would be to help kids learn about these things so that we can prevent these mistakes in the future. So one of the biggest reasons that it's not taught in school is because there's not enough time on the timetable, and there's not enough resources as well. So it's not seen as a priority. But overall, there is a greater need for professionals to guide individuals to help them make smarter financial decisions. Canada is actually one of the only schools, I believe, in the world that has started implementing financial literacy tests. And this was back in May of this year. And Sweden is like one of the country that is like one of the highest in financial literacy, and the UK is actually quite very low. So what is the solution? Solution is to overall reduce excessive spending, especially in this climate where things are pretty overpriced and people are feeling very anxious about the current money that they have. And also the goal is to develop knowledge on this. And as discussed, aim is to help families, single occupant households and other people save money. The reason why I mention single occupant households is because when something has gone up, I'd say in the past 2 years, something has increased, it's very tough on it's tough on a lot of people. However, for a single occupant person, when a bill increases, it's solely on them, and especially if they don't have anyone else to rely on, then it can be quite challenging as well. Past 2 years, we've seen a huge increase in things such as electricity and service charge, and it's been quite overwhelming for a lot of people, especially during lockdown as well. Some people were out of work, and then some people were lucky to be working through the whole of it. For working on the solutions, this would mean like planning and having a strategy for the individual and what they need to do in order to do what they want. For example, if they want to save for a holiday in a year's time, then Finance Fixtory's job would be to help them do that and do it in the most realistic way. And although I've mentioned that Finance Fixtory would be the hub for the relatable financial literacy resources. For example, a lot of people don't know that they're entitled to things such as free travel, free coffee, and electricity, but I could go on. So this is where they would find that information. So travel. Travel tends to go up quite a lot each year, and especially if you're a commuter to and from the office, it can be very hard on your wallet. And especially if you're commuting from a different town. When I used to commute to London, it would cost, well, this was back in 2018, 2019, it would cost about £600 a month. And that was about 5 years ago. So I don't know how much it costs now, but it's probably not a nice figure. Yeah, so this tends to increase each year. A lot of people don't know about rail cards. So with rail cards, anyone of any age, pretty much any adult can use a rail card. So you have rail cards such as 16 to 25, 26 to 30, and a network rail card as well, which anyone can use. And of course, you have your Freedom Pass for anyone over 60 or 62. And also with these rail cards, you can actually put them on your Oyster card to travel around London. So it generally saves you a lot of money. For the past 10 years, I have been doing this hack. So I've been putting my rail card on the Oyster. So for me to go to central London from Zone 4 would cost about £2. And I think the fee on off-peak would be about £3.20 normally. So yeah, so that's why sometimes I have been going to central London, because it's not been too expensive for me. But sadly, I'm not able to do that anymore. I can only use a network rail card, but I can use a network rail card to go use trains outside of London. And sometimes you can even get trains for £2. And this is if you book in advance with the companies listed, such as EMR Trains, Greater Western Railway, and many more. But that does require you to book at least maybe 2 or 3 days in advance. With flights, in order to get cheap flights, you would need to, well, I know a few hacks, but one of them would be to go onto Google Flights, but you'd have to be really flexible. So if you wanted to travel in the next few days, then you could, you pick the destination, you pick the month, but you don't pick the exact date, because it would narrow it down and make it quite specific. So you have to be quite open with that. With holidays, all-inclusive holidays, for example, Love Holidays is a good place to go, and you can get all-inclusive holidays to North Africa, Europe, and many other places for about a week for about £400, and that includes literally everything. There are some other places like Travel Republic which do deals like this. I would also say, if you do want to go on holiday, even if you want to go on holiday next month, there's still sales for travel. I know a few weeks ago, British Airways had a sale and they were doing flights to New York and I think Los Angeles, but I think it was New York, for about £350. I think it was a return, or one way. Actually, no, it was one way. But it's a lot cheaper than you'd normally pay. But the thing is with that, you'd have to book way in advance. But of course, people may not be thinking about traveling right now, probably thinking about going on holiday in a year's time. So if you are thinking about going on holiday in a year's time, then it would make sense to book now, so you could save a lot of money. And And I understand Expedia and Booking, they've now combined their point system. So if you book on Expedia or if you book on booking.com, you can combine the points and you can use it to get free holidays, really, if you saved enough points. I've also discovered another company called Play. So with Play, you can actually get flights to North America. So you can go to places like New York. You can also go to Canada, and this will cost you about £400, which is quite strange. But the catch is that you'd have to stop over in Iceland. So with that, you wouldn't have to spend like a week. You can if you want, or you could just spend a few hours in Iceland and then you get back on another plane. So there are ways, but they're kind of hidden. Okay. So with food, you can be bougie on a budget. So you can actually go to places like M&S and Waitrose, and I'm sure there's many other shops. So what happens usually, I'd say around like 5 p.m. every day, or even before that, these type of stores, they reduce their items, the ones that are going to potentially go out date in the next 24 hours, next day, sorry. And they will slash the prices, and the workers usually go around and put I think it's yellow stickers, but then they'll do it again and then again and again and again. And I think the later you go, the more cheaper it is. So yeah, if you want to have some M&S food or something different, you don't have to spend too much money. Sometimes I've gone into M&S, I've found things from like 20 pence, and between 20 pence and £2, and it's been like proper meals, and it's really helped. Sainsbury's and Co-op and a lot of other stores do that as well. It's also good to check your apps as well, like Lidl. I know they have like bakery offers after 7 p.m. You can also get so I'm with Octopus Energy, and they're actually offering like free coffee every week. If you go to Greg's, or if you go to, I think it's Cafe Nero, you can get like free coffee. And yeah, it's just one per week though. And Greg's, my fellow UEL alumni, was telling me that you can get free Greg's as well. So there's also it's always good to check emails, especially spam emails. So for example, Sainsbury's, they every month, I'd say, for the past year, they've been offering free delivery, but it's usually within a certain time frame, so you'll save money on that. Yes, always check newsletters, emails. If you've been somewhere before, if you've been to like, I don't know, a store, and you've connected with the Wi-Fi, I know it's like for marketing purposes. I mean, it's up to you, but sometimes it works in your favor because they may give you a discount code or some kind of like freebie the next time you go into the shop. There's also a really good app called Too Good To Go. So what happens here is that certain stores, they register with Too Good To Go, and they basically, everything that they want to throw away for the morning. So if they have breakfast and it's time for lunch and they need to start preparing for lunch, then and they didn't sell all the breakfast food, they'll bag up the breakfast food and then sell it for cheap, between like £3 and £5, depending on what you'll get. And you get a selection of, for example, pastries and hot food as well. And so all of that is done. All of that is done through the app. And it's also good to look at your community groups, because the ones that I'm registered, sometimes they're cooking food and they're saying, oh, I've got, well, usually they're selling the food, but sometimes I think it's Olio. That's an app where people just say, oh, I've bought too many, I don't know, potatoes today, but I don't want them and they're in good condition. Would you like to have them? And so you can get free potatoes or anything else that you fancy, really. So, oopsie, that. Right, I think, yeah, that's it. Oh, yes. And also, if you're a student, if you're also studying like anything else, you can make use of Taste Card as well. So that's a good thing. For entertainment, I tend to use this website called Show Film First. So here you can get film, theatre and concerts, and it's really cheap. A couple of weeks ago, I went to see Final Destination Marathon. It was an all-nighter. It was in Piccadilly Circus, and it literally showed like all 5 films. And I only paid £7 for it, and the ticket was actually worth £35. But there's a lot of companies like SFF which do things like this. And also, I went to theatre to see Romeo and Juliet about a month ago, and the tickets were actually £350, but I got them for £25. This was actually through the venue. So a lot of theatres in the summer, they were doing this thing where you pay what you can, or you pay like £1 to 30 quid. And sometimes the theatres have standing tickets or seats that are like they have a restricted view, and they will sell them for cheap. So you can do that. Also, it's also good to check the apps, and if you're a previous attendee, sometimes you get discounts for another show. The BBC actually offer a chance to see the orchestra for free. I've been a few times this year, but it's literally first come, first serve basis. And also, believe it or not, phone energy providers, they offer you cheap cinema tickets. And I am aware that this Saturday, it's cinema day or something. So cinemas around the UK are going to be selling £4 tickets. So if you want to see like an old film or something current, that would be a good day to go. Local venues are also good for entertainment because you'll have like up and coming artists who want to showcase some of their work. So you may not need to pay too much money, and also local venues tend to be a lot cheaper than going into central London. So a lot of people say things like, I would like to save more money, I'd like to buy a property, I'd like to do this and so on, but it's all about knowing how to. So I'm just going to share some statistics again. So this is for savings. So 17,000 roughly is the mean average amount of money held in a savings account. A third of adults have little or no savings. 65% of adults say they may not last 3 months until they need to stop borrowing money. Men also have more savings than women, and this is across all the different groups. And this data actually comes from money.co.uk. So as you can see, this picture is from Bank of England, and during lockdown 2020, the savings were a lot higher. Because we didn't really get to go out and spend money. I know a lot of people were able to save, like they would have a tin or something, and they'd put in money that they would be spending on their train fare or their food to put in this tin, and then at the end of the year they saved quite a lot of money. So that was good. But then as you can see, towards 2023 or beginning of 2023, the monthly savings had dropped significantly because that was when I believe that a lot of things went up in cost, and yeah, it was quite difficult for a lot of people. Okay, so savings accounts. There are a lot of different types of savings accounts. The account that I used when I was saving up for my property was the Help to Buy one, but that's no longer around. However, I'll just give a brief backstory to what the rules were for that. So Help to Buy, the interest was really good, but there were a few restrictions. So you could only save maximum of £200 per month, and I was generally saving more than that. So I had to split everything across to different accounts, and it was quite confusing. And so now they have the LISA, which is a lifetime ISA. You can save up to £4,000 per annum, but you also have a withdrawal penalty. So you're not allowed to withdraw unless, I don't know, it's serious, but it's generally designed for people over 18 who are trying to save for their first property, or for over 60s who are looking to use it for their pension. You also get a 25% bonus from the government as well. There are also a lot of different types of savings account with high interest rates at the moment. Aside from the ones I've mentioned, you can actually have an investment ISA as well. So you can use this to buy stocks and shares, and there is a tax-free element of that. So when you buy the stocks and shares, you will have to pay the necessary fees. However, the money that you use to keep in that account is tax-free. And also for those who are on universal credit, there's also a savings account called Help to Save. Here you'd put in between £5 and £50 per month, and you also get a bonus the following year. Okay, so credit scores / buying a home. So is a credit score so important? Yes and no. So when it comes to credit score, see, going too far. Go back. Right. So when it comes to credit score, it's good to be, well, you must be registered on the electoral roll. That is something that you need to speak with the council about. When you have, for example, if you are using a credit card, it's best to take out a no interest credit card, so it saves you paying back more in the long run. And it's always good to pay more than the minimum, because you'll finish it quicker, your credit score will increase much quicker as well. It's always advised to keep up with your payments, your rent, your phone bill, because I was told that rent is recorded on there. Your phone bill definitely, well, I've never seen rent personally, but phone bill I have seen. But either way, you should keep up to date with those anyway. And it's okay to, I mean, you can get a 999 credit score if you do these things. When buying a home, I found that the credit score wasn't really something that they paid too much attention to. It was more so if you had any outstanding debts, and if you did, how big or small were they, and if they, for example, if they were over a certain amount, then the banks would require you to reduce it significantly so it's manageable. enough for when you get a mortgage. It's also good to have a good credit score combined with the lack of debt, because you'll have access to better rates, better LTV, which is loan to value, and better interest rates. If you have a good profile, they usually look for at least 3 years income and a permanent job, although I kind of bypassed the permanent job. I was actually doing fixed term contract, but they said that I just need to prove that I'd be kept on. However, they didn't actually follow up with that. So I don't know, it may work differently for everyone. And also it's very good to be disciplined if you are deciding that you want to buy a property or anything quite big like this, because cash is key. So anything you buy at this point, from starting to buy property up until completion, will need to be paid for in cash. You wouldn't be able to use any cards, because that will be considered. So that would mean, yeah, being very disciplined and not going out and spending money on things that you don't need, going out partying and things of that nature. But once you have got your property, you're free to do whatever you want, but within reason. If you do find that you have lack of cash after you bought your property, or you only got a certain amount to tie you over, an idea would be to use interest-free credit card to buy the furniture and just pay it back every month, more than the minimum payment. Okay, so with direct debits, the aim is to try and reduce them. This usually, well, the best time to do this would be at the financial year end. For us in the UK, it is March 31st. By this point, we would have received a lot of letters saying that we need to pay X amount extra for this bill, that bill, and all the other bills, and it can be quite overwhelming. But there is a way. So, for example, if you have electrical cover, so for example, if you have a fridge, freezer, an oven, and they need a sort of like a cover that you pay for every month, so in case it breaks down or something like that, then you can, and if it's actually paid through direct debit and you've been a loyal customer, or you've been a customer for a while, you can actually call them and say, is there a way I could reduce this, because I've been a loyal customer or I've been here for a while. And they should say yes, you can reduce it, especially if you said to them, I've actually called somewhere else and they have lower rates, or I've called British Gas and their rates are much lower than yours, so I feel like I'm going to go to them. They will think, okay, we don't want to lose you, so we'll reduce the rates. So I actually did that with mine. And then with broadband, you could do the same as well, and mobile. So I was actually paying not too much money for my phone. Well, it's just a SIM only contract. It was £11 a month, but considering that a lot of things were already going up, I wanted to kind of see if I could reduce the cost slightly. And I actually looked around, and for example, I was looking at Labara, and they were doing a SIM only for like £5, and it actually included EU roaming, whereas I was with EE, and if anyone's with EE, you know you have to pay for the EU roaming, which is a bit annoying, because then you see other companies, they have that included. So I basically spoke to EE and said, yeah, I've looked around and I've seen a contract for half the price, and it's got EU roaming included, and it's like only £5. So they were like, okay, we'll match it. So yeah, it always pays to call them and speak to them, because they do value you as a customer, don't want you to leave and write bad comments about them. So yeah, always call them if you're thinking of leaving your broadband, mobile, or anything of that nature. And yeah, and the goal is to actually just pay less than you need to, because sometimes you don't realize that you're paying for things that you don't actually need to be paying, and the amount you're paying could actually be quite high, and doing something like this would help yourself in the long run. Yeah, I also have a YouTube video on this. So next steps for Finance Fixtory, it would be to ultimately spread the word and let people know that they are missing out on not only, free things, but just kind of make things easier for them as well. I also look to grow the business and have potential interns for stuff like marketing, because I'm not very good with things like TikTok. So yeah, it would be good to reach those kind of markets as well, and also produce more content, and finally have continuous positivity, because with a positive mindset you can literally do anything. So if you'd like to contact me, here's all the socials, email address, phone number, etc. Oh, and if you also need a DJ for Halloween, Christmas, New Year, or a singer, let me know. I can sort you out with that. And that is it. Thank you for watching. And any questions?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Judith.
That's okay.
Yeah, this is very, 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 yeah, very, very good tips in terms of savings and on how to find deals, like you mentioned, in terms of yeah, foods, going to the supermarkets and yeah, it's a bit late and seeing what they have to offer.
Yeah.
And tips on savings as well. I think with EE, I've done a similar deal as well, where
Okay.
I rang them up and yeah, I told them to say, I'll leave and this is a better deal than elsewhere. And they were happy to reduce my bill. And
Yes.
but
Yes.
for me, it was a very big amount because I reduced mine with over £190.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Wow.
so that was massive. I
Yeah.
moved yeah, contract to yeah, same. That was brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So the floor is open for any questions, contributions. Anyone with questions? Travel tips?
I'll give you a contribution,
Mm.
right? If you just want to take it on the one of your travels, right?
Mm.
There is something called a DPR. I don't know if
Right.
you've heard of it, right? Or if you want to
DPR.
investigate, you can investigate it, right?
Okay.
If any of your households or any of your
Oh, I think you're muted.
Joko, I think we're muted now.
sorry about that. I think it was from my side.
Okay.
Yeah. So if any of your family members are like in a wheelchair, there you can get the DPR,
Right.
which you can
Okay.
cover for 1/3 of the travel.
Right. I
Right.
think
So
I've heard
maybe you
something.
want to investigate the DPR as well.
Right. Okay. I will look into it. I think I've heard of something quite similar, but thank you
So I'm
for
guessing
sharing.
I'm guessing you know what it stands for, Judith. Or do you want me to explain it?
What
What the
you
DPR
can
is.
you can explain. Yeah.
So basically, the DPR is the disabled person's road card,
Oh yes, I
right?
do.
And you will get 1/3 of the travel with your companion.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you can travel on the national you might get just one third of the National Express, the
Yeah.
Great Angler. Depends on which service providers uses the scheme.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. That
Right.
makes it sound good.
Regarding the food budget,
Mm.
right? You're right in saying that they will sell out by probably 11. It will run from 6 to 11,
Mm.
and then from
Yeah.
after 11, they will start reducing it down.
Yeah.
Right. In some stores. Right, and mostly you will find the ones on the Good to Go app as well.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you downloaded the app and see which ones have got onto which hour of close of business, if you want to call it, known as a close of
Yes.
business, and
Yeah.
then certain points of the day, like probably let's say 12, 3, and if the store closes at 6, then they might do it until 5.
Yeah.
Last
Yeah.
last reduction of the foods
Right.
as well. Get a good deal as well. But it won't be on the
Okay.
multi offers. It will be only on the
No.
purchase.
Oh yes.
If
Yes.
there's a
Of course.
multi offer like a crisp drink and chocolate, it will not cater to those needs.
Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I think I've seen that it's always like individual items. It's never multiple items.
And also regarding the travel, is
Mm.
you can get some half like cheaper deals on other sites apart from
Mm.
the probably more sites than the ones you mentioned on your presentation as well.
Yes.
It's just good to
Trip.
investigate. The people have to investigate each different sites.
Right. Yeah. I
But
think
like us,
there's
flying
trip.com
made
as
us.
well.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I forgot to mention one, trip.com. They actually offer discounts, and I got my rail card on there as a discount, and then on top of that, you gain like tokens and stuff. So yeah, that's one I can think of at the top of my head.
And
Yeah.
regarding travel, there are loads more sites than the one you probably mentioned on your
Yeah.
presentation. Right, so people have to investigate where they're going to and what
Yeah.
price other companies or travel agents are doing for the same flight at low cost ticket as well.
Right. Okay. Right. I'll look into those as well. Yeah. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone. Hi Judy. Thank you so much
Oh
for a
yeah.
brilliant session.
It's
Thank you.
okay.
This is one of my main interests. I was quite happy when I saw the topic. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was just gonna add when he was talking about travel and you mentioned about trip. I just
Mm.
wanted to add with Uber travel as well.
Mm.
That's
Oh
actually
yeah.
quite good because they offer like I think you get 10% in
Yes.
credit for every booking that you do. So
Right.
that's been very helpful, especially now that, like myself, I've moved outside London. So I'm
Mm.
always comparing between Trip and Uber and
Yeah.
obviously Trainline as well.
Oh yes,
But
train line. Yeah.
in all, I found that recently I'm actually reaping more value using Uber because those credit, there are bookings that I've done
Yeah.
that I've only used my Uber credit.
Oh wow.
So say you
Well
book a
done.
trip of £100, you're going to get £10 back.
Yes.
So which
Wow.
is really
Good.
good. And they also have a competition right now that if you book any trip between now, maybe till the end of the month, you get
Mm.
entered in a prize draw for about 1,000 Uber credits. So yeah, if anyone
Oh
needs
wow.
to book a
Okay.
trip, yeah, I'm not getting paid for advertising. So
No.
yeah, another one is Sky Scanner, like for
Oh yes.
international
Yeah.
trips. I think that's really good because at the end of the day, it combines all the benefits from every other site, even
Mm.
Trip, Expedia, it puts it all in one place. So I find
Yes.
I've always used Skyscanner, but you're welcome to also look elsewhere. But I find it really easy because it combines everything in one place. Then
Mm.
I was also going to add cashback sites.
Oh yes.
So
Yes,
Top
I have a blog
cashback,
post for that. Yeah.
Quidco.
Yeah,
If you work
Cridco.
with a certain organization, like with the NHS,
Yeah.
for instance, you get the health
Yeah.
service discount, you get the blue card. Honestly, do not underestimate like what you can save with those.
Yes.
Like I was
yes.
looking at my top cashback account. I think I've probably got back close to £2,000 so far. So good.
That's really good.
And
Yeah.
yeah, within like 10 years, because with the
Yeah.
ISA, rather than going directly and opening an ISA account, so if you go through your top cashback, you could get up to £350 back.
Oh yeah.
Life insurance, home insurance, car insurance, you do get like cashback back, and they're quite good. If you feel like you're missing any cashback, you can put in a missing cashback claim.
Oh
You know,
yes.
I don't even worry. I just open it and I'm like, oh, okay, I've got
Yes.
£100, transfer it to my account or use it for rewards or, whatever.
Yes.
So yeah, if you want to look into that, and then if you refer people as well, you get about £35
Oh yes.
just for
Yes.
referring a friend. So
Right.
and
Yeah.
they also get £10. So it's a win-win on both sides. So what I normally do is before I buy anything from any website, I'll just put it on top cashback, see if
Yeah. Same. Yeah.
could be as little as 2.2%, but it all adds up in the end.
It
Especially
does.
when
It
you're not
does.
worrying about it. You just open it and see that you've got some money.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
quite helpful. Yeah, I was gonna say, because a lot of people are crying about, help to buy and all of that. So you did mention LISA, which is brilliant. I actually saved up with the LISA account when I was
Okay.
trying to buy, and it was fantastic.
Oh, that's good.
Unfortunately, I did have to withdraw at some point,
Yes.
which was not very nice. I wish I never did that, but like you said, if you need it, it's your money, you can get it. But as much as possible, try to avoid that.
Try not.
And the good thing is, even after you've bought your house, you can still leave the rest of the money until retirement. So the only thing I
Yeah.
wanted to touch on is that there's a certain age. So I know you mentioned for like maybe it's over 60, but
Yeah.
there's limit. I don't think you would be able to apply if you're already 60. I can't quite remember, but that's something that it's common knowledge online. Yeah, so it's best to do it ASAP if there's anyone that doesn't have a LISA account, even if it means just putting in £10 every month. Even if you're not planning to buy a home, you're still going to get your money back when you're 65 anyway.
That's it.
So
That's it.
that's something that I always advise everyone to open, and even then when there was help to buy, I still opened it, but I compared the two, and I realized with a lifetime ISA, you're also getting some interest on your money, because I did the
Yeah.
stocks and what's it
Shares
called?
ISA.
Yeah, so you're still getting some interest, and you're building, it's
Yeah.
not a lot, but you're building something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually preferred it to the help to buy. And so there's no point worrying about the fact that help to buy isn't there anymore. And just open a LISA account and do it through the cashback sites, because then you get something back as well. If you're
Oh
opening
yes, of course.
any investment account, Nutmeg, any name, just go through the cashback. They always will give you something. I know on their side they give like gift cards and things as well, but
Yes,
I
they
just
do.
find the cashback one more rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all. That's all I just wanted to say. Yeah, thank you so much.
That's okay. No.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you. Yeah, I was just gonna say I have a blog post listing all the different cashback websites, because I use different ones, but didn't include it in this slide. But yeah, I can send it across later on. Yeah.
Thank you. There's a question in the chat.
Oh yes.
Um,
Meeting guest. So thank you, Judith. Thank you for this session. Very helpful. Do you know if paying off debts contributes to your credit score? Also, do you think the first step to financial health is to pay off all debt and then go from there? Or are there any other things you can do in conjunction? Yeah, paying off your debts definitely contributes to your credit score. So for example, if you've taken out a credit card and I don't know, you've maxed it out and your credit score's gone right down, you start paying back, the more you start paying, the higher your credit score becomes over a certain time. And the second question, so it would be good to, yes, one of the steps of financial health would be to pay off the debts. And yeah, it's a tricky one, because you can, this is the thing, if you want, yeah, if you want like a good credit score, you can either take, which sounds odd, but you can either take out another card or whatever, but you don't have to do that. But sometimes it helps to build the score. But as long as they see that you're paying it back consistently, and if you're paying more than the minimum as well, but it depends on what you can manage and what you can do. So that would be something you need to think about, but happy to discuss externally. I think that's it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, Judith, it's Jackie. I just wanted to say, brilliant overview of how you can make your finances better. But there was one thing, I know that on the back, you've got your findsfixtoria.com, but you haven't put the link in the chat for everyone to just be able to.
Right. Okay.
I just thought, and
That's
maybe
a
you
good
should
idea.
do some hashtags for your TikTok and your Instagram.
Oh, yes. I'm just trying to navigate TikTok, so I need someone who's TikTok savvy to help me with that. So
Yeah, so no, because I do try to follow you on TikTok and on
yes,
Instagram.
yeah.
So
Yes, thank you.
yeah.
Thank you. Right, I'll just type that. Right.
So we're mostly looking now at social media as well.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I like the part about the savings now, because I don't think it's you're never too old or too young to start saving, even if it's £10 a month, because it will, if you did that every day while you're working or whatever, it would still accumulate to quite a bit.
Yes.
Or if
definitely.
it got to a certain amount, you then just put it into an ISA to make more money.
Yeah.
Or something. But yeah, I think that's a good one. But another question is, if you become solvent, meaning you pay everything off, to keep your credit score, don't you every now and again have to have something on credit and then just pay it straight off just to keep it like that? Because that's what I've noticed with mine. If I don't have any debt and I just keep paying cash, it's like, because they're not seeing any activity,
yes,
it goes down. So like my score was 999, but now it's gone down to 997.
Yeah.
So they're saying to me that I've got to do something to put it back up to 999.
Yeah, it's a funny thing, credit scores, because it's basically saying you need to take out credit to make it a good score. But sometimes I've found from my experience, if I've had like a little bit of credit, but I'm constantly paying that or paying a lot more than I need to, then it kind of stays at 999, which I don't know why, but it stayed at 999 for a long time, like 6 months, and I wasn't taking out anything else. So
no, but you had some. I
but you
don't
had
have
like
any.
a little,
Yeah, I didn't have any, so I had to go and buy something on my credit card yesterday. So I'll leave that just so that I can get it back up again, because I didn't realize that. Yeah, somebody said, oh, every now and again you've got to take something.
You got to do something.
Yeah, you got to do some sort of activity. Yeah.
Great. Do we have any more questions, contributions?
Hi, Judith.
Hi.
I believe we met on the open day that was
Oh
yeah. I'm going to be setting up my like self-employed business. I wanted to know if you had any advice.
Self-employed. That's a good one, because I'm still learning as well. But I think networking is key. As some of you know, I'm always at UEL alumni events, and I find them really useful. And UEL holds some really good alumni networking events, so definitely go to them. I think one's coming up next month, so yeah, always go to the UEL networking events. And there's always different types of networking events on Eventbrite as well. A lot of them are free, so it's a good start. And I'd say attend a lot of webinars. I'm going back to UEL again. So UEL actually helped me set up my business. So I'm not sure if you know, they have their own enterprise team. So they have they've been doing like a summer workshop for different topics, such as like how to do marketing, how to do a pitch, and there's loads of different things. And I think they run throughout the year. So yeah, we're good to go with them. And yeah, just spend, well, if you're working full time, spend some time, like every, a few days a week, just like reading up on things that you need. Make a plan for yourself, like how much do you think you'll need in terms of money for equipment or whatever you need to do. And it's always good to do like a business plan as well, and a canvas. But yeah, if you want to talk further, happy to discuss, and you could share what exactly you're doing, and maybe I could help you with that.
That's great, thank you.
That's it.
Do you have any more questions? Any contributions? Any disagreements?
God.
No, I know we all need to save money. We all want to save that money and yeah, be good in our books.
Yeah.
It's a message. Is that a question? Okay, no.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, babe.
Right. Yeah. I'll just ask one question. What are some common mistakes that people make when trying to save money or to build their credit, and how do you think that can be avoided?
Common mistakes is, I'd say, people not being realistic about their goals. For example, if they do want to save for a property, but they're still going out to eat in central London, like, I don't know, 3 times a week, but you need to do a lot of sacrifice, and it's not fun, it's not enjoyable, but you have to be prepared to take sacrifices and be realistic about your goal as well. And sorry, the second question was?
The second question was just on how they can avoid it. How to avoid it.
Avoid it. Yeah. It's basically being disciplined, and also writing out a plan, and the plan has to be kind of detailed, as in like what you're going to do, like when you get paid, and how you're going to distribute the money, and how much you're going to keep in the savings, how much you're going to spend for your essential outgoings, and may need to leave a bit of money for some entertainment. But you have to be balanced, and you have to have a plan in place.
Thank you.
It's okay.
We're still open for questions.
Well, on the back of what you said, Eden, and on the back of what Judith said, I'm going to say is like when you use your credit card, I don't have a credit card, but I've got platinum card, but I've not started using it from Barclays. So what my knowledge of the credit card is, right, save yourself from getting a bad credit history, credit score, right? If you're going to spend your credit card, always put money back into your credit card. The outgoing has to revert back to the ingoing. Right. As well as on the back of what you said, Judith, is always to save money on rainy day. Do you understand? Right.
Yeah.
If it's like let's say if you're getting like for example, your wages was 1,100, right?
Mm.
Always save 500 or 600 for a rainy day
Yeah.
as a backup, right? Then
Mm.
rather than your debit card or your credit card maxing out, and then you obviously get
Mm.
bad credit card or blacklisted.
Yes.
Do you
Yes. Yeah.
understand? So I save one for a rainy day scenario as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always good to have rainy day accounts, and also have like multiple savings accounts for different things. So you don't mix everything up, and then you can also name the savings accounts. So one could be called holiday, one could be called, I don't know, stuff for the home, or renovation. So you have like, you know, kind of like a, every time you log into your bank, you'll see, oh yeah, this is what I have, and it feels nice because you can see that you're actually, you know, saving money for different things. Yeah, that's
And the other thing was the expenditure as well. Like you can
expenditure.
do it like whatever you're gonna spend in a restaurant, you can do the same thing with
Yeah,
your own ingredients from home as well. It's like
yeah,
buying your own home kit
yeah, that's
of the
it.
food, and then obviously saving money that way, financially and logistically as well.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Um,
Thank you.
thank you.
There's a question in the chat.
Oh yeah. So meeting guest, what are your thoughts about using AI for financial planning? ETC, have you used it? No, I haven't used AI. Um, yeah, I remember we had this had a similar discussion at the other alumni event. AI, I'm not sure. I'll have to come back to you on that one. I don't know. With me, I like to do it myself so I can see what I'm doing, and you know, if there's any mistakes, I spot them. So I don't know. Uh, that may come over time. Um, and then any specific advice on saving money whilst renovating your home. So it depends. So so you're saving money whilst renovating your home. So if you already have savings for the renovation, then I guess whatever comes in is yours to do whatever. But of course, you have to prepare for any extra costs that you may arise that you may not be wary of. But yeah, I would say just have a plan for that. Oh, right. No, I mean, how can you save on hiring builders? It's best to shop around. So use like not price comparison sites. So things like Check a Trade and sites like that. I'm not too sure. And also it's good to ask around, ask your community. So if you have like WhatsApp groups, if they know of any builders that do good deals and they do a good job as well. It's also good to ask your neighbors. That I'd say would be one of the best ways. And yeah, just like a simple search on Google, and I think you could just put in how much you're willing to spend as well.
I'll probably go back to the question on for financial planning. Was a question meant to be like, are you able to get guidance from there, or are you going to use AI for your actual planning?
I
think, yeah. Rachel, do you have any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, it would be nice to know exactly what the person that has asked the question wants to know. But yeah, there are tools that are quite helpful. Even with your like banking apps and online banking, there are always tools available for budgeting. And most of them use AI technologies anyway. So if you're thinking about maybe like getting an app to help you plan financially, there's no problem with doing that. Even accountants do that now. They use AI to predict, to budget and to do their expenses and receipts and things like that. So I don't think there's any problems with using AI to do that. It might just save you time. I think somebody is putting like an app. Yeah, personally I don't, but and I know that most of our banking apps actually utilize that when you're planning as well. Yeah, so sorry, I haven't seen the question itself. I'm trying to go back and read through it, but it'll be nice to know exactly what the person wants to know. I'm trying to go back to. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't see the question anymore. Yeah, but yeah, there's no problems with that. Just make sure as well that you're keeping an eye on things and you budget, basically. That's the word. Yeah, I think David and Alicia, they've also like put in something in the chat that could help.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Even before I was gonna say something about like savings account. It's also looking at what your banks are offering. There are banks that actually reward you for saving. One of them is Nationwide. I think last year I actually got like benefits on. I have to like because they have different account like the Flexi, different names for the account. So if you open a savings account with Nationwide, for instance, every year you do get back £100 so long as you meet that the eligibility criteria. So which one of them is just having a savings account? It doesn't matter how much you're putting into the account. So I think that's something we should look into. So what I've done, one of the myths is, oh, don't have a credit card. I made that mistake for several years when I moved to the UK as well. Do have credit cards. In fact, shop around, have as many as you can, so long as you can manage it. So you need to know yourself and know how disciplined you are. You're the type that you know that, oh, once I have a 10,000 credit limit, I'm just gonna spend it. And maybe this advice isn't you, but if you're disciplined, have as many as possible, because there was one thing Judith mentioned: buy the house first and let all the purchases come after. So it doesn't matter when you buy a house, your credit score is going to come down anyway. So if you need to use all those interest-free credit cards, as many as possible that you qualify for, get them, use it, and then just make sure you're putting the money back. Your credit card would really suffer, but then trust me, within 6 months, you'll go back up again. So it's so funny how it works. It's not don't have credit. If you don't have credit, you're actually not helping. So just make sure you're getting the best deal. Do your balance transfer if you have to. Sometimes they actually reward you again for getting a credit card. I think HSBC is doing like an offer at the moment where you get about £35 just for having a credit card, and it's interest free for 1 year. So why not? So no one is counting how many credit cards you have. It doesn't mean that you're struggling. No, that's not what it means. It just means that you're trying to reap the benefit from all these banks. Everyone is in a competition, so get the benefits. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rachel.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. Felicia mentioned that on the Black Brilliant app, they also have courses on budgeting and saving, investing as well. And from Gobo, he says, while having a credit card, look at the APR and interest provided by the society and bank. I think that's what you mentioned as well.
Sorry, I know I'm talking a lot. I'm so sorry. Can I just mention is what having a financial advisor? So this is why this is very good. So if anyone actually wants to grow financially, please have a financial advisor. Let it be Judith if you're comfortable, or maybe someone at your bank. Every bank as your you have a right to an advisor with each bank you bank with. But if you don't find out, you wouldn't know. It could be your account manager. So if you feel like you're struggling or you're just not doing things the right way, please go to your bank, speak to someone. They will sit down with you. They will set an appointment. It could be an hour long, break everything down, tell you what to do. and it will save you a lot of stress. And one thing as well is that we shouldn't feel shy or feel like maybe we're failing. Like if it means even using a food bank if you're struggling, please get all the help that you can. Don't feel like getting financial help it's actually something that the society frowns upon. No, that's not the case. It's better to be in a good standing than to suffer in silence. But one thing I don't advise on, I don't know how Judith feels, is getting into all this financial planning in terms of getting IVAs or cancellation. I advise thoroughly against that, because if you're planning to ever own anything in the UK, once you get on any of those plans, I think for the next 5 years, it's messed up completely. So I don't know how you feel about that, because a lot of the time you get phone calls, it flashes on your YouTube everywhere, and I've seen people fall into that trap a lot of the times. They get their debts written off, but then you're incapacitated for the next, I think, 5 years. It stays on your credit profile for probably another 6 years, and it just sticks with you, because every single time they will ask you that question: have you ever been made bankruptcy? And you have to answer yes. So you might not be able to get like your car finance, lease, a mortgage, I'll leave it to Judy to also raise. I just felt the need to raise that, because I feel like a lot of people just jump in without knowing the disadvantages of doing such things.
Yeah, so it sounds too good to be true. So yeah, just be mindful, I guess. Yeah.
There's a question, do you have to pay for a financial advisor?
I think like most banks provide that service anyway, but I mean, obviously if you want to speak with me about something, then we can discuss that further. Yeah.
That's what I was going to come to ask. You would give that financial advice, and then do they have to pay for it? Because we're trying to with each other.
Yeah, well, the goal is to eventually start like a paid service, solely focusing on the financial literacy aspect. But I'm available to be, booking sessions with like, I don't know, like an hour session free or 30 minutes, depending on what your needs are. So yeah, if you'd like to book a session, feel free to get in contact with me. I'm not sure if my details will be sent out after, or if I need to, it's fine. But yeah, we can arrange that. Yeah.
Thank you. Any more questions? Any more contributions? If there are no questions or contributions, we'll be closing
I'll probably put the last contribution in. Right,
yeah,
when renovating your home, always look for deals on whether it's paint pots or brush rollers or wallpaper. You might get deals somewhere in building sites like B&Q or Wix or somewhere as well. Like like if they're like the end of the stock, you might get deals on that as well. Depending on what color your wallpaper preferences are.
Yeah.
When renovating your home.
Okay.
And always when renovating your home and you're doing it from scratch, always have the CAD software on your computer to see how you want your kitchen design or your living room design or something like that. Just for renovating your homes as well.
Right. Okay.
Because most of the what do you call it, companies, the builders will use CAD softwares to design the kitchen or living room to your specs before bringing the actual equipment in to start doing fixtures and fittings and everything else that goes with it.
Right. Okay. No, thank you for sharing that.
I think there's a question from Augustina. There's a hand. I don't know if it's contribution.
Yes, I wanted to ask Helen. I
Hi.
want to ask regarding mortgage. Do we have anybody who could give us a little bit insight on mortgage?
Mortgage. It's
Because
not.
I'm not anything mortgage now is really, really too expensive. Is there any contact we could have maybe to discuss and find out a bit more? Is there any other ways than the same way it is maybe generally?
So can I ask, do you have a mortgage at the moment?
Yes, I am.
Right. And are you like on a fixed term or is it variable rate?
Is fixed.
Fixed. And is that like coming to an end soon?
It's about 2 years. I think I still got 3 more years to go.
Okay. So if you have 3 more years, you're okay because you generally don't have to worry about anything right now because you wouldn't be able to change it anyway unless you're willing to pay like an exit fee. But if you are concerned, it would be best to speak to the mortgage advisor that you dealt with or the bank that you're with, and they can give you tailored advice to your specific product.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
That's all right.
Because also I would say when it comes to mortgage, I would say if you go on Martin Lewis's website, I think you can get more information there. Martin Lewis.
Are you gonna
That's
put it on the
Money 7
chat?
expert.
Okay.
Yeah, Money 7 expert. So you can get more information there.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Mountain Lewis.
Yes. So I'd say we're coming to the end of today's masterclass. Great insights here, and very much for everyone's contributions, questions. I've really enjoyed the session, and I believe everyone else has enjoyed this masterclass. And a big thank you to the alumni team, as always, for always organizing these events on our behalf. And, pardon?